What parameters can producers use to determine if he's struggling with embryonic losses?
Okay, what would you use to figure out whether I have a high embryonic loss or my losses of pregnancy or non-pregnant cause due to some other reason? There are some simple tools that as a proxy you can use to figure that out. One of the things, although it's an old parameter by which we use the reproductive success, is a non-return rate, right? Non-return rate. Now, if you, out of those open cows, you detect half of them in heat somewhere in past week 3, meaning day 28, day 30 or so, right? Of those. So then I consider that later embryonic loss, things that happen after day 16, because that loss does not causing the seal to go down right away. So you have a little bit of a seal sticking around. So cows coming back to heat, in other words, your interstress intervals on average is about 28 days or 27 days, and that consider that you lose in embryos some, again, is an estimate, right, Victor, past day 16. But let's say out of those that return in heat, bunch of them coming back pretty much on time between day 21, 22, 23, meaning your interstress interval hasn't changed much. They come back to heat. Then I consider, yes, you have a lot of open cows, but perhaps due to early embryonic loss, i.e. before day 16. That can give you a little bit of a scenario where this loss is happening. Let's say that after 42, you have half of them coming back to heat, or you detect them in heat. Of that, almost could be, depends on what numbers is that. Let's say half of them coming back to the heat day 28, half of them come back early. Then you have both scenarios. Some losses happen before day 16, some after. But let's say heavy in one side, then you can have a grasp on that. So as an example, in summer, you have expecting greater rate of return on estrus because of the environment situation and its affecting embryonic mortality. Then, so look at that return as a one tool. So very common, some DHI plus that have a tool, at least I know PC-DART has, to look at the interstress interval and see the abnormality of distribution of these heats, return heats. That can tell you a little bit, is that when these losses occur. Now, we can do things and change something and see whether there's a change or not. If it's a change, then you can say, yeah, I have a high embryonic loss. As an example, if you believe some of the losses happen before day 8, right? For those portions that they lose pregnancy before day 16, half of them probably happens in the first 8 days. I'll go do embryo transfer in heat stress situation. So if I do that and I see improve my overall preg rate, then I can kind of give me intuition about, yes, some of those losses happen in the first 8 days. I have embryonic loss problems, and part of it because of earlier stage. Or, as I said, look at the data one at a time. Do use a heat abatement big time, and then see your pregnancy losses come back, and then let's say, is the scientific approach. Do it in the first 21 days, proper heat abatement. And then suddenly you see that nothing has changed. Then they tell me that they have a late embryonic problem loss, not the early one. But again, that's a little more scientific approach. But I would say from management standpoint, the tools out there, do one at a time, change one thing at a time to see where your numbers lie, and then that can tell you a better picture of whether you have a high embryonic loss or not.
I really like the return rate and especially the interstress interval, because even if you are doing preg checks 30 days after insemination or 45 or 60 days after insemination, that's a tool that you have in your farm, that the producer have in their dairy management software. So it's that's really handy.
And I think so, and it is there. You can just go. I know in some tools and commands you put in the either of the software, and then you can even do the histogram and see where the bars happening. So,
yeah.